Okay guys, so this has been the whole battery pack process, my whole battery pack charging process. So we have 97 cells in here, and we have I've forgotten the number of models, but then each model is made up of cells. So I guess most of you know that already. So each cell, I was trying to get each cell up to like 3.7 volts. So charging, I was able to charge the front part easily. The front post has the positive here and the negative. I'm not touching anything because I need to get my gloves on before I touch anything, because this whole pack gets up to about 400 volts together. So what I've been able to do so far is to charge these 6S cells to about 22.5 volts to get 3.7. But then initially when I hit the cell up, they go up and then they come down. And then I made sure I was able to get each cell up little by little. So some cells came up, I left them to sit, they ran down, and then you charge them again, and then they hold the charge very well. So I was surprised to see most of these models hold the charge very well. They haven't dropped down since I charged them. They've dropped just a few volts, so I'll be able to hit them up and then finally put them back into the car. The car is looking dusty. Yeah, there's a car in the garage, but we are in the dry season, so we are engulfed with so much dust. So this is this is kind of normal. I'm going to clean later, so my fingerprints on the car there. So when it comes to the 6S models, they are usually easy to charge because I have the post here, so I can just go ahead and then use my charger. So what I'll show you the charger I use. I use a bench power supply. That was easy. But then I also had this cell balancing charger that had a positive and negative post. So I was able to put it at 6S and then put it on negative and positive and negative, and then do that. But then when I came to these packs, they had run down very much, that they had a reverse polarity. So I had to make sure I got the polarity right and then leave it to charge. But then I'm surprised that these models are actually the ones holding the charge very well. The ones that had reverse polarity, I don't know how that come. But then this has been my power supply. I've been using this, a 30 volts DC power supply. I wanted to go higher, get probably a 60 volt, but then I couldn't get a 60 volt. So this is why I went with, as you can see, I'm charging this last 5S cell. For this one, you can access the positive and then you trace a bus bar to get a negative on another cell. But then for most of these ones, you can't get to the positive and negative. So I found it difficult to charge these 5S cells at the back. So what I actually had to do was to try and hit each pack up at a time. So I had to do two at a time. But then because I had a 30 volt power supply, it was very difficult to charge this up as double, since I needed to get each one to 3.7. I was looking for 18.5. So let's say I was looking at 32 point something for both, which I couldn't get with a 30 volt power supply. I was losing some few volts. So what I had to do was I had to create this BMS line, this kind of BMS connector. I just go an 8-pin connector, and then I created this on my own. It is very dangerous to work with, but so you have to make sure these pins are not touching. They are far apart from each other, and I was able to trace the negative, positive, and then trace each cell through this and then charge it through that. It was very crazy doing this, but then I had a cell balancing charger that was able to determine the reverse polarity. So in case I trace it, I'm not sure, I just go ahead and check with that one, and then the moment it gives me the positive, I go ahead and charge it. So I was able to try to get this to charge each cell up to 3.7. That's for the 5S model. That's the 5-cell models. I was able to charge each one up. And then also I had this other device. That's a cell capacity controller. So what it does is the moment I plug it in, I'll be able to determine the voltage of each cell in a model. So I'm going to try to do that so that we see it. So what has happened to it is this capacity controller isn't that accurate, but then it has been a very helpful device for me, since it helped me to be able to determine each cell's power. So let's say I just go ahead and plug it in. Sometimes I have to turn it because so I just go ahead to plug it in. You hear the beep and then it comes on. So I got this to 18.5, but then it's been some days now. It's actually been 4 days or 5 days, so I've dropped some voltage. But then I can go ahead and check the capacity I have on each cell. It wouldn't be super accurate, but then at least I have a fair idea. I know that my cell is sitting at this, so it shows it's a 5S model, so it shows each cell and then goes here to 5S. So if I press it again, it gives me the total pack. The total pack, and I'm able to check the difference between the maximum and the minimum voltage, so as to make sure that these cells are right around the right balance that I want. I try to balance each one to a very close voltage. I was trying to target 0.2 for all of them, and I think I succeeded with that. So this one still needs a little bit of balancing, but the moment I charge it all up, they all end up balancing, so I think I'm fine with that. So at the same time, you can also come back, and then the moment you press and hold here, it tries to balance the cell by itself. But then what happens with that is it discharges the highest cell to match the lowest cell value, and then it ends up balancing them. But then whilst doing that, it also gets warm, so you have to keep an eye on this. And then it's not super accurate, so I wouldn't recommend this one in balancing. But then it actually has that feature where you can use it to balance your cells. I didn't use it that much. I used it at the beginning when I didn't know much about it, but then I tried it out and I figured I can just go ahead and get each cell up to my connector that I did. So yeah, so I am today. I think I'm currently almost done with all the 5S packs. I have them around 3.6, an average of 3.5 for all of them, and I think I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that all the 6 cells are like that, all the 6S models are like that, so that I can just calculate the total pack and then let us know what we have as total pack, and then slide it right around the car, plug in the charger, and then make sure I pray we have success with that. So yeah, that's been my plan so far. So charging, this one has been an adventure, because when I opened this pack at first, I was really super confused. I didn't know what to do about it. So hopefully the next stage will be putting it back into the car. But then the next stage wouldn't be just putting it back into the car. I also have to figure out how to wire out the parts. And then for the parts, I've been lucky to get a very, 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 very good person to send me some parts. I actually appreciate that, all the way from Slovakia. So I have some parts for this 500E. I have almost all the parts for the inside. For the inside bits, I have almost all the parts apart from the radio. I'm going to do with the radio later, because I want to use on an Android screen. But then the engine bay wiring, the inside wiring, I think I have all the parts. So I just have to finish up with the battery and finish up my wiring, and then I'll update you. Yeah, so this has been my 500E battery pack charging, and then I'll be on standby for any questions. Please stay up for more. Yes, this is the HV fuse, the high voltage fuse. So the moment I put it back, the whole thing becomes a whole new pack. I'm not ready to put it back, because that's going to be around 400 volts. I'm not ready to play around with 400 volts. I'm ready to play around with the little volts that I have. Each volt is dangerous, so I make sure that I do this very, very, very carefully, and then make sure I don't touch anything with my bare hands. Make sure I always have these rubber gloves on to help me out with that.